Could your primary relationship in your life be sabotaging your success in your business? We'll explore that today on The Kathy Sherry Show. Hi, I'm Kathy Sherry. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you here today. We're serving up straight talk for women entrepreneurs, and today our conversation is about how to resolve conflicts in your relationship so you can achieve the success you really want in your business and in your life. My guest is Erika Ferenczi, the feminine transformation expert. Now, Erika's a leading financial freedom strategist, a relationship expert, a certified life coach, an energy healer, speaker, and writer, and she is the founder of DecodeTheDynamics.com. Welcome, Erika.
Hi, Kathy. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you for being here. It's a real pleasure. Now, I do want to talk to you about your personal journey in just a moment, but first, could you sort of set the stage for us what we're going to be talking about today by telling us about the work you're doing with women right now?
Yes. Well, basically, what I do is most of the time, especially women entrepreneurs, believe that the business, their personal life, and their business life is completely separate. And really, nothing could be further from the truth. Even when they don't realize it, what really happens is whatever is going on in your environment, in your family, especially with your intimate partner, has a
Yeah.
huge effect on the business. How you show up, your energy, your motivation, the freedom you have to travel, to invest, and to do many, many things. So that's the work that I do with women, understanding what's happening in their relationships, what's happening in their financial status within that relationship, and how that is affecting their business. Because you've been there every time we travel to a conference or something, when people are asking questions, I would say two-thirds of the questions are related to their personal lives, how their environment is affecting their lives. So that is the work that I do.
That's awesome work. And I think it's amazing that you do this because it is a factor probably in every woman's life if she is an entrepreneur. And it's wonderful to know that you're doing this kind of work.
Thank you.
So, what led you to this particular calling, Erica? Well, now, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Well, my journey started pretty much like a lot of people's journeys start. I grew up in a family. My father and my mother, they divorced when I was 6 years old, more or less. So I grew up with the problems of a broken family, let's call it like that. But I grew up. I went to college. I was very driven. I went to get a job. I went to do many things in life. And then at some point I decided to get married. I remember when I was a little kid and my parents divorced, I said I would do everything in my power so my children will never feel as alone as I felt. I know that they did the best they could, but the truth is I was feeling really, really alone. And there were many years in which I saw them going through, a lot of ups and downs emotionally, financially, everything because of the consequences of getting a divorce. So I grew up, I went to work, I started working for a pharmaceutical company. It was very successful. I loved my work. I was traveling all over the place. And then I met my husband. And when I met him, and we decided to get married, we had to relocate. We had to relocate because he was being sent overseas. And for me, that meant that moment that I had to leave my family, my work, my country, my friends.
Whoa.
And I really never understood how much that was going to take a toll on me. It was a really big decision, but I never understood how I really left everything I knew.
Yeah,
I
that's
left part of me, right?
yeah, huge amount of life changes to go on simultaneously. I mean, that's yeah.
Yeah, so it feels like they take the floor out of your feet. Like you have no floor, you have no framework of how to work, where to start. So anyway, this embarked me in a big journey. We relocated 6 times, 7 times over 8 years. And in the process, we had 2 children. And, it was a juggling act all the time. The children, the moving, we were moving, every year and a half, maybe 2 years. I couldn't work in these countries. I didn't have a work permit.
Oh.
So that made it even worse. I have very little children, so I didn't know many people. Anyway, so this embarked me really in a journey of self-transformation and self-introspection. I remember waking up one day, looking at myself in the mirror, and really not recognizing the woman who was looking back at me. I remember, seeing and saying to me, what happened to me? What happened? Where did I lose who I was? I was driven, I was motivated. It felt at some point that I could take the world on my own. And suddenly I felt myself really disempowered. I had everything everybody could dream of, a wonderful husband, 2 very healthy children, a good financial position. The truth is that my inner world was very different. I was very lonely, demotivated, I cried a lot. And so I started to find what was going on, what was really going on with me. And that led me a journey of energy healing. Yeah, like you said, I attended Barbara Brennan School of Healing, then coaching, psychology, many, many things until I understood that really the problem started with me. Started with when I kind of lost a part of me. And it was a journey of regaining who I was and where I was coming from and what was important for me. And not only being, the wife of or the mother of, the daughter of, but really having a world of my own and living life how I wanted to live it and living life on my own terms. So that's how it started all this.
And I can see quite clearly how that is the perfect foundation for what you do with women today, the kind of help that you're giving them. What can you tell us about the link between our personal relationships, particularly our primary ones, spouse, partner, and how successful we are in our businesses?
Well, I think there's absolutely a direct link in there. Like I said, sometimes we pretend there is not, or we are not aware that there is a link, right? But the thing is that the dynamics that they set into your intimate relationship are very similar that the dynamics that you're going to be experiencing in the workplace, especially when you're an entrepreneur, right? I always say that a business starts and ends with you, especially when you're starting a business, when you are not a 60 or 70 people company.
Right.
Your business is you. It starts from who you are and your creativity, the energy you have, what are you putting forward, and that is very similar to what you have in your relationship. So when women start having a business, wanting to build a business, well, there's a lot of up leveling that needs to be done, right? You need to get out in the world. You need to show up very authentically, hopefully. You need creativity. You need investments. You need to travel. You need to network. You need to be out there. You need to be making connections and relationships. And obviously, all that is going to have an effect on your personal relationship, because the dynamics are changing, because the activities are changing, because your objectives and your desire as a woman entrepreneur are changing. So what happens in your personal relationship obviously has a huge impact in your business.
Erica, can you give us some specific examples of situations some of your clients have been in and what you did to help them overcome those challenges?
Yes, of course. So, for example, a very specific case is a woman who came to me. She's starting her business. She's been in business like around 3 years, more or less. And she's having a lot of trouble in her personal relationship. So she came to me and said, you know what? If only my partner would value what I do more, right? He would be willing to probably give me more time or invest more in my business. I wouldn't have so many troubles when I want to travel. Maybe he would embark in this journey, because really entrepreneurship, especially when it is a conscious, hard-based business in which we are, all the coaching
Right.
industry, It's really a self-introspection industry, and sometimes our partners are kind of they don't want to embark in the journey with you. It feels like they are in a different consciousness. They see things from a different place. So she was in this stage, and she was kind of blaming her partner. If he
Oh.
would only change this, if he would only value me more, if
Mm-hmm.
he would only do this or he would only do that. So through our work, really, we worked a lot into seeing how she wasn't valuing herself. That's where everything started. Just women, we are so prone to put everything before us, our children,
Yeah.
our family, our house, our partners, everything, right? So, of course, she wanted him to value her work. But for that, she had to start valuing her and her work, and, many, many things that she had to go through the process of the personal transformation that we did with her. So, at the end, what happens is like her personal relationship totally transformed, and that allowed her the energy and the motivation to do better things in her business. So that's where it really all starts.
And I think the thing that really strikes me about what you just said is that it comes back to you, the woman, of, if you don't value yourself and your business, nobody else is going to either.
Yes, exactly. So, like I said, she was blaming or she wasn't taking full responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, most people or most women that I speak to, they believe they are. They believe they're taking responsibility. They believe they aren't blaming. They believe they are giving, and I understand they are doing the best they can, but there's an additional layer that needs to be uncovered so all this works in a better way.
That it seems to me that sometimes women may not even be aware that it's their relationship that's holding them back. What are
Yeah.
some of the signs, the indicators that would tell you, well, yeah, that's the problem?
Yes. It's so funny because most of the people that I speak to, and when I start talking about this subject, they said, "Oh my God, I knew there was something, but I never realized there was so much." So, some of the signs is like obviously you have conflict, you have disagreements, you feel that he is not in the same level of consciousness that you are. You feel like you're kind of fighting against what he believes you should be doing or you shouldn't be doing to really
Mm-hmm.
take your business to the next level and to what you want to achieve. And another sign, could be that there is a struggle when you want to invest in your business
Mm-hmm.
or in your next coaching or whatever you want to invest on. It's like that moment, it's like, I really want to do this. I know this is what I need to do, but I gotta go back and talk to him about the
Right.
finances, and it's
And
even fear that comes up.
yeah.
So those are some of the
And
signs.
I think that's, has to be one of the biggest causes of friction. Well, money in general certainly can be anyway, but when the whole concept of the way we invest in ourselves and in our businesses is, if you're not an entrepreneur, that's a really foreign idea. It's kind of it's hard for other people, spouses in particular, sometimes to understand.
Yes, sometimes they are not entrepreneurs. Sometimes they have their own, they work for somebody else and they don't understand how this works.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, that money is I would say the number one cause of
Right.
friction in a regular marriage, whether you're an entrepreneur or not.
Yep.
But if you're an entrepreneur, it's another level of friction,
Mm-hmm.
right? And just helping women and get empowered with their finances and stop giving, so many times, most of the time, I would say women give away that financial responsibility to their partner because
Yeah.
it's easier, because maybe they're making more money than they are. Probably at the beginning of the relationship, they are having small children, so
Mm-hmm.
that stage in which you have babies in your arms and you're kind of, you don't want to kind of deal with the money, right? It's like, let somebody
Yeah.
else deal with it. And then later in the relationship, we kind of pay the consequences, but there's a way around all this.
Well, what do you think is the number one thing women need to do to step up and embrace their power, particularly when it comes to their financial independence?
Well, I would say, like in everything, would be first of all, stop blaming someone else. Stop blaming whatever it is, It could be the external, it could be the economy, it could be the
Right.
government, it could be whatever. Then you go to your more immediate people, right? It's like your parents, your friends, whatever. Then you go to your partner and you blame him for whatever is happening. And then there's also the blaming of yourself. I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I did that. And I always like to say, in a state of blame, nothing will change. So stop blaming, right? Taking responsibility for what is going on and say, I had a part of this. There's a reason why I ended up like I ended up here. And let's really look at the causes of this. And another thing is to stop taking. Stop taking from people, from your partner, from your relationship. Stop taking, I need the love, I need the appreciation, I need the presence, I need you to change, I need you to give me more money. And start thinking, what are you giving? What are you giving to your relationship? What are you bringing in to your life, right? Because if you're growing and you're expanding, then you can bring in more things to your family. And it also is financially, right? What are you bringing in? And how are you contributing for all that? So I would say those would be the first steps, stop blaming, take responsibility, look at the real causes of what's going on, and then start giving. Start taking the steps. So if you're not making any money, so you start making the money and you start bringing in, because sometimes it's easy to blame somebody else. Oh, you're not giving
Oh,
me
yeah.
enough, right? But when you want to bring in the money, it takes a lot of effort, but it can be done. So start taking responsibility for that and sharing the responsibility of the financial responsibilities that we have.
That is incredibly insightful. I think that's very important, Erica. I'd like to ask you, this is a little bit more personal about
Yeah.
you.
hmm
Is there, can you talk about one decision that you made that has had the most positive impact on your business?
I would say it's exactly what I told you, those steps of saying, okay, this is, I'm not going to use my fault, but this is my doing. I am here because this is my doing. And if I want to step out and have a bigger business, I have to take full responsibility for every aspect of my life. So stop asking for permission, really. Decide what you want, decide how you're going to do it, because you got to take responsibility on how you're going to do it, and then step up and do it, whether the
Right.
people around you like it or not. It's likely 90% of the time at the beginning they don't like it,
So
because
true.
you're used to it. Your partner is not used to it, your children is not used to it, even your friends and your parents. Does it matter? Well, you can listen, but that doesn't mean that you're going to stop. So stop asking for permission, know what you want, step out and start taking the steps. Don't let anybody tell you what you should or shouldn't do. Be responsible and do the things that you want to do.
Erica, you have so many amazing and valuable things to say on this subject, and I know that some of the women in our audience, many of them, may be interested in learning more about this and where they can go to connect with you.
Yes, of course. So obviously you can find me on Facebook. My page is decodethedynamics.com. My name is Erika Ferenczi, and that is spelled with a C, Z-I. And you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. I love to connect with all of you in LinkedIn. And my website, there's tons of information. If you go to the website, is www.decodethedynamics.com. And there's over 2 hours of teaching around these subjects. If you just put your email, you'll get all that information. So I would say that is the best way to connect with me.
That's fabulous, Erica. I so appreciate you being here today. It's been really informative and eye-opening in some respects. And I just want to say thank you very much.
No, thank you, Kathy, for having me. And it's all for the women up there, making them and allowing them and helping them to be more and have more and do more. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Take care now, Erica.
Thank you. Goodbye.
So I hope you enjoyed this show today and my conversation with Erika Ferenczi. That is one juicy topic. And if you did like it, I'd love to have you share it with your friends and leave me some comments on my website. The easy way to get there is thecathyshow.com. I'd love to hear what you're thinking about all of this. And if you have a moment, pop over to Facebook. The Facebook page for the show is The Kathy Sherry Show, and show me a little like. Till next time, wishing you brilliant health and downright ridiculous wealth.